it.
Hi everyone, how are you this fine evening?
Hello. Oh my God, girl, you look like a vision. You're a vision.
Thank you. I feel like I'm getting ready to sell Weber grills in 1961.
Oh my God, that sleeve. What is that sleeve? It's just so puffy and
Yeah.
delightful. That pattern looks like something on a 60s Catholic church stained glass window.
Thank you. We love a tile print. The repeating geometry, like, it calls attention to the lines and the movement. And if you're really cold, you can keep one arm in and leave one arm out.
Give us a stand. Show us the look.
So what I really love about this dress, it has a wide self belt, which is very mid-century, but I also see that it's like coming in a lot lately too. So self belts are very fashionable.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I love that. And it is a T length?
It's not quite ankle length. It's a little bit.
Okay.
It's a little bit higher.
Oh,
than
it is a little
length.
longer. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's like Puritan and then shocking, one arm out. You know what I mean? Which I love.
Yeah. Well, you know how I like to have things a little dramatic.
You?
So I feel like.
What's the praise?
So if it were 1961, I would be grilling in like full crystal. You know what I mean?
I love that.
It's almost ready. Like, this is the grilling arm, so you don't get the grease on the sleeve. Like, it's
oh my God,
ready,
that's
kids.
so good. Yes, and because everything was so fatty in the beef,
Yeah.
you'd really need that distance.
Also, can I just say, like, this is not how you grill. This is how
I know. I think that's it.
Yeah. This is how you, like, ask for change on the corner. Or it might be how you, like, fry eggs, but it's definitely not how you grill.
How you shake excess perfume off your arm.
Yeah. The jig is up, they know. Oh my gosh.
Well, it is so good to see you as always. I'm
Likewise.
actually wearing maroon, but you can't tell.
Ooh,
so
yeah, actually when it focused, it does look more maroon now. When we were chatting before, it just looked black, but now I can see it.
I really like it because here's why I like this sweater. I like this sweater because it's like, oh, is it a crop top? Or like, did it just get washed? Do you know what I mean? And it's like a little bit too short. Like, I just really like it.
Did it just get washed?
Right? Because it's just like, it's just a little too short and it's a little uneven. And I'm like, I think it was just like a purchase from like Forever 21 or some shit, you know?
I love how the edge like waves just slightly. It almost looks like an intentional ruffle. And
right, but it's not. But it's
not. It's just.
And like then these are like bizarre and like cut here, so it's like weird to wear a bracelet.
Yeah, no, I actually like the flutter sleeve. You know, it's like a very delicate flutter. And that's
so me.
That's so me, and that's what makes the hem look intentional. Because if the sleeve were just tight, like a tight cuff on the wrist,
right,
it would be like, why is it ruffling like that? But
yeah.
But hey, sometimes you put it. It says machine wash on cold only, and you just don't read the label. So
that's also this vibe.
I've done that plenty of time.
So me.
Plenty of time.
Oh, girl, we love to hear it. So, tonight we are being graced by Kel Surprise, a California Pinot. I'm going to change it up one time, but you know I'm a sucker for a Pinot Noir. What are you drinking tonight?
Ms. Pinot Noir, welcoming to the stage. I am drinking Lime La Croix.
Oh, delicious.
I thought it'd be a nice
good
contrast with the dress. You know what I mean? I like to coordinate.
I love that. So tell me, what are we dishing on tonight?
Tonight we are dishing on honesty, which is a very straightforward and easy to tackle issue. I think all of you at home will agree. But it just seemed like something that we were thinking of things that like are kind of woven through relationships. We tend to talk about a lot of interpersonal topics, a lot of things that have to do with relationships. And honesty is one of those things that just comes up a lot with relationships. Yeah. So I think, Brooke, we should just try to unpack that a little bit and find out what it means to us and maybe what it means to our viewers at home, our lovely viewers at home. And you know how we do on the dish. We're not looking to make any broad conclusions here. We're just looking to talk and have a good time. So
yes. Well, let's start by
the dish is hot.
Yes, and we're going to cook it up and serve it. Let's do my dish. You want to pull up the dish cam?
Yells. Okay. So, girl, give us a little preview of what we're having tonight.
So
I pulled up our little preview image.
Let me grab it. Okay. I have my dish. I did a garlic thyme salmon
That sounds tasty.
with roasted leeks and roasted carrots. And do you have the photo up?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. So you see the white rice there. I don't eat white rice, but I did make that for Daddy, though. And I love the contrast. You know what I mean? So I don't eat white rice unless it's on sushi because I am like, it makes me crash. We talked about this before. So I'll eat it on sushi like at the end of my day. But if I eat it in the middle of the day, it was rough. And I knew I had this. So put up that dish cam. I'll do a live version
dish
of what
that cam and cam that dish, to coin a popular phrase. All right. Ooh, get that focus. Yeah. Oh, look at those vegetables. Those look so good. I like it when there's a little bit of like char on the edges of the vegetables. Like if vegetables are too rough cut, like I wanted more smoke. You know what I mean?
So
I love the smoky flavor.
The reason this is a 4 in difficulty is because of the vegetables. Because the salmon is really basic. Obviously, you season it with salt and pepper, throw it on, and then marinate it as you go. I do a marinade of olive oil, lemon juice, about half a lemon for 3 fillets, lemon zest, salt and pepper, thyme, fresh thyme from the garden.
Fresh thyme from the garden. This is becoming a trend. Trend alert.
Yo. And then crush, really, really finely diced or minced garlic and whatever onion I have. I'll do it with chives. I'll do it with shallots. I love shallots, are my favorite. I'll do a red onion, a white onion.
I love shallots too. They're sort of sweet. They're so good.
But really, really delicate. So when I do this with the shallot, I'm careful because if you start with that in the marinade, you gotta be careful. They burn really easily. They burn off. So that's what I did. That's kind of the cake on the top, is that garlic shallot combination. And then the key is you have to bake the fuck out of these vegetables, like 375, 25 minutes, and really slice them so thin.
Yeah.
And then broil them. And everyone's broiler, can we just talk about it? Everyone's broiler is like that emotional mess of an ex in your 20s.
I don't even know what a broiler is, to be honest with you. I'm a bad 60s housewife. I don't even.
Oh, they broiled everything, girl. Broiled hot dogs. But the broil is like the fire on top of the stove, or sometimes it's underneath.
Okay. So the heat's not always from on top.
Right, but it's actual like fire on top.
It's actual
so it'll like
fire.
char shit, right?
Dramatic.
The broiler is like, but it'll like, if you have like a brulee, you can always pop it under there and it bubbles, like whatever it is. So you got to broil the fuck out of these, and then you got to time it with the salmon. So the challenge is just the timing, because you want to char them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks so good. Shoestring. Shoestring, yeah.
If you have a mandolin, this is a dish for you. The sweetness of the carrot with the leek and with the tartness of the leek and the onionness, so nicely complement. And let me tell y'all, I don't mean to get controversial, but you can't find a good root vegetable in this state. So if you want to mail me some root vegetables, I'll take them. I'll take parsnips. I'll take radishes. Send me your root vegetables, because everything down here is fucking sand.
I just need a good
root vegetable.
You'll hear it here on Covered Dish. She's desperate enough to accept parsnips, and that means it's bad.
It is bad. All right, so I'm going to do a little salmon.
Oh, yum.
I'm going to add extra leeks.
Get the combo.
I love a leek.
No, that looks so good.
The garlic.
Denise says, I've never felt more excited about vegetables in my life. Me either, Denise, because that looks complicated. What? So is that what brings the 4 out of 5 difficulty?
Yes, because it's the prep. So leeks you have to really clean. You got to cut the carrots thin, and then the timing. And you know what, Denise? I love that you said that, because I think vegetables get a bad rap. I really do.
Absolutely.
And they are the star of this dish, because salmon we've done here before.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very forgiving fish. It's a forgiving fish.
It is.
But those, and you want them to crisp up like that. So they look burnt. You're going to be like, oh, fuck, I burned them. And you're going to be like, no, these are amazing. And all I do is season the leeks and the carrots, mix them all together with olive oil and salt and pepper. And just throw them on a cookie tray. I will say this is not a dinner party dish. You cannot walk away from the kitchen. Do you know what I mean? We have those dishes where it's like, you can just chill and have a glass of wine. I was like watching everything like a hawk. It was pretty funny.
Right.
So,
you have it ready when people arrive, or you have a backup plan.
or you have a pizza place on call,
Yes.
which you can't have in the state of Florida because there's no good pizza down here. Again, just really roasting the state of Florida today.
Ooh.
I'm going to pivot.
Florida roast.
Florida roast.
Yeah, so
Let's
the veggies, I was going to say something about, and I don't remember. I had so many things and my list, you would have been so impressed. My mental list was ready to go and it just all left me.
You did really well with veggies. I think the key with veggies is, we don't season things. So we as in white people, so I think you just need to like be generous. And even if you're doing low on salt for like health reasons, there's still a lot of really wonderful.
Oh, like zest. That was one of my bullet points was the zest. I love to put zest on really anything. But how do you feel about garlic? Because I feel like you can never have enough.
Facts on facts.
You agree?
I did. For 3 salmon fillets, I used 10 cloves of garlic smashed for the marinade.
10 heads of garlic.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. No, oh, my God. We would all die.
I'm kidding.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. The other thing about garlic is you have to both, like, if you're on a date with somebody, you have to both eat it, you know? Because that way it's like...
Oh, I love it. I love it.
To some extent, it cancels itself out.
Love, honestly, like, on my hands, if you're ever lucky enough to go on a date with me, girl, my hands always smell like garlic. I'm just like, yes, and the fan. My hands always smell like garlic. And if you can't handle it, get out of the kitchen. I don't know what we're talking about. Anyways, we're talking about honesty. So
what we are talking about is honesty.
Here's why I love this topic. I love this topic because I'm still not on the dish cam, right? I don't need that kind of attention.
No.
Okay, good.
Tell us how you feel, Brooke.
Kidding. I definitely do. But so
we all need a little dish cam from now and then.
I love when everyone starts relationships. This is the shit they always say. First of all, they're like, I'm not a cheater. That's the first thing everyone always says, right? I'm not a cheater, blah, blah, which is just like steeped in toxic monogamy, and I hate it. The second thing people always say is like, I'm just like, need someone to be true. I'm so honest and I just, need someone I can trust, blah, blah, blah. So we can all just get out that everybody lies. And we can all agree that honesty is the best policy. So both of those things are true. So in that, girl, what do you find challenging when you get to the honest space in relationships?
Oh, this is a difficult and vulnerable conversation. Let's first acknowledge. But let's just jump right in. I think that honesty, when I think of honesty, it makes me think of moral dilemmas. And what I mean by that is that usually honesty gets hard when there's a question of harm, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be honest with someone, like, hey, do I look fat in this dress? And then, it's like, and then that's such a dumb example. Let's think of a better one. So, but honesty, you know what I mean? If you bring up a question and you're like, oh, do you really want to know the answer? Particularly, everyone's a little bit different with this, right? And this is again, not a value judgment, but the sensitivity is different for different people and around different things. So like when I was early on in transition, there were certain things that I didn't like about my body that my partner did like about my body.
Right.
And so when that topic came up, it was like, thank you for your honesty. And also now I feel like you like the things about me that I don't like. And like, was that a growing opportunity for us? Absolutely, because we continue to process that over time.
Right.
But in the moment, I was sort of wondering, like, did I really want to know that? You know what I mean?
Oh, girl, this happens to me all the time. So whenever I always balance radical honesty, but like, I'm also a very jealous person because I'm a human. So I'm just going to say this aloud. When you meet someone who says they're not a jealous person, run the other way, because jealousy is completely normal feeling and it's real. But so if I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, like, tell me, is she hot? And my girlfriend or my partner is like, yeah, I think she's hot. I'm like, for a second, right? And you're just like, you know what I mean? You're just, you growl for a minute, right? Internally. But like, it would be unfair of me to not acknowledge that, like, for a moment, I'm like, did I really want to know that? Yeah. Or do I want to live in the myth of like, of course not, baby, I only have eyes for you, which isn't true. Like, that's not humanly, and I don't want it to be true.
Not realistic and not sustainable. Like, it's
right.
It's none of those things. Like, I'm looking at the spreadsheet and the numbers don't add up.
They just don't add up, and I can't add. But I think it's definitely one of those things where, from, everybody meets, nobody says on a first date, I just feel like truth is a spectrum. Like you want to, because honesty is such a bastion of our culture,
Yes.
especially like rooted from the Puritans. It's like this, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and dating is like an interview. It's like a job interview. So there's like an understanding of things that you say in a professional context, and there's an understanding of things that you say to make yourself look like desirable and also not crazy, right? Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
I went on a date.
I'm not going to fly off the handle if something,
right.
Yeah.
If you lie.
Yeah.
I went on a date with a woman and she ate asparagus like Bugs Bunny ate a carrot, and I
that's a
should have broken up with her, and I didn't break up with her. You know me. I was like, no, but I dated her for another 3 months. But oh my God, it was like, nah, 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 nah. It was like a nice restaurant, and I was mortified. Everything else was fine. Just
and
kidding.
You're like, so how's the asparagus? Does it taste good? You're like,
oh my God. Like I let it go when people, I let it, certain things go, but I was like, oh my God, are people looking? Anyways, so you just cut asparagus. That's it. It's not a trick. I think it's also a thing where like, what are people willing to say? And then I feel sometimes, of course, there's a level of everything you say in the beginning, it's not all going to be true. Like there's no person who's going to live up to that standard of the first 3 to 6 months and how amazing that feels. But it does feel scary when like the theory to practice is so off base.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well,
like, what do you need to tell someone?
Yeah. What do you need to tell someone responsibly? Is it everything?
You have a story about that, don't you, girl?
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Before I tell that story.
Hold on.
We got to re-up. Or re-down. I guess it's re-down. Let's get into it.
Directions. Mm-hmm. Who needs them?
Whatever. We know about stuff and things. So, but let's talk about the concept of lying by omission. Like, oh, but you didn't tell me the whole story. And it was like, well, I didn't think necessarily that the whole thing was pertinent or relevant. And sometimes omissions are deliberate and sometimes they're not, right? Mm-hmm. Because you don't know what someone is going to find really important. You know what I mean? So that is a great segue into the story of the time where I tried to deliver Christmas cookies. I tried to surprise my Snapchat boyfriend. That's the term I like to use. That's a lot to unpack. Take it in, girl. Yeah. Give it a moment. Let it sink in.
So I'm okay. Every couple times in this story, you're going to pause for my editorialization.
Yeah.
Eileen was being a perfect Christmas elf and decided to treat someone she cares about with homemade,
home decorated
at a location she had been to previously.
Yes.
With him that he said was his home. Go.
Okay. So I had the surprise cookies. This is all great. I was in the car with my partner. And my partner, this was not like a surprise drop, right? Like look that way for 20 seconds and I just run over and drop up. Yeah. Like, this is something that my partner and I, knew about, we both know this person. This is all fine. Right. But I use the term Snapchat boyfriend because there is a certain amount of controlled distance that we've had. Like I had been to his house once, not a bunch of times.
Right.
So that's part of the context. So I go to the door, I ring the doorbell, and someone comes to the door, a woman comes to the door, and I say, oh, these cookies are for so-and-so. And she says, no one lives here by that name. And so, like, in the moment, it's like, well, now what do I do? You know what I mean? So I said, oh, well, I think I said, are you sure? Because I was complete, like, I didn't.
Right, you're in shock.
Right. I'm in complete shock. And then she says, no one lives here except me and my husband, blah, which is a different name. And so now all these things are going through my head, like, have I been completely bamboozled for the last 2 years? Like, does this person go by a different name? Are they actually married without my knowledge? Like, married is fine. I don't actually, like, if there's an arrangement and everything is being communicated responsibly, that's fine. But, like, I didn't know this for 2 years. We've been talking for a long time. I was just like, so I just take my little cookies and I'm like, all right, well, I'm sorry to have surprised you by coming to the door, and I will be leaving now.
Pause. Pause, 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 pause. My turn to editorialize. 2 years. 2 years, maybe more. She left this is what she does. She's like, gives people the benefit of the doubt times a million. And it's just like, oh, it's my Snapchat boyfriend. But you have known this person for years.
Yes.
Years. Okay, I'm sorry.
I would say pretty intimately by that point, like we knew things about each other, okay? So, and, in the moment, like, I thought to myself, like, oh, why didn't I say, like, oh, I've been here before? Like, but you don't want to, if this is what's happening, I didn't want to make the situation worse for her.
Oh, my God, no. So because if this situation,
never mind.
If that's true.
Yeah. I'm going to immediately disengage. If
right,
it's true,
sure.
I'm going to immediately disengage. I'm going to leave, and I'm just going to be like, I don't want to make things worse for anybody. So I'm now in the car, and my partner's like, what happened? Because I can't. I still have the cookies, and I'm clutching them very tightly, and I'm like, well,
they're just all crumbs.
Yeah,
there's like a pile of crumbs.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, this is a new situation for me. So I sent a message, and I said, so I went to your house.
Met your wife, homie.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Met your wife, homie.
Yeah, I was like, I went to your house, and I was gonna drop off cookies for you, and I knew that he had a roommate. So I knew that. So now the question is this the roommate or is this the wife, right? And it was like, I met someone who said that you didn't live there and that the only person who lived there was her husband, who goes by a different name. So are you that person? And he was like, oh my God, that was you? And I'm like, yeah, that was me. And he says, the thing that you have to understand is that my ex, who is actively stalking me, is also a very tall woman with purple hair. Like, not your kind of purple hair, but purple hair. And so, because you never said your name, she was like, hey, I
knows
think
the drill.
I think your ex is here. Yeah, I think your ex is here. So I, like, tried to say all the right things to be like, oh, don't bring cookies anymore. I think she asked me, like, have you sent letters? And I was like, yes, I have sent a couple, but they were, like, Christmas cards. You know what I mean? Like holiday, birthday kind of stuff.
Also, like, what a weird thing, like, very Game of Thrones. Have you sent letters?
Are you the one who's been sending mail to this address? And I was like, well, and then I assumed that she would remember what my name was at that point, because if someone continues to send, you know what I mean? Like, it would be memorable. So anyway, this is a very roundabout story. It sounded a little convenient in my head. Like, now this is where I have some kind of trust issues, because I was like, okay, well, why did I not know that this was a boundary or a trigger? You know what I mean? I was like, bringing cookies over, surprising someone by dropping cookies at the house did not seem like a big deal to me. And so what I had to now grapple with was like, A, can I trust that you are who you say you are? Because that's still all going through my head. Because it's still possible, right? I don't know what's going on. And then second of all, I'm like, I stepped on a landmine, but I realized I have no idea where your landmines are buried.
No, that's not your responsibility. Yeah. And that's not your responsibility. Pause. Get in the chat if you're watching. I don't care when you're watching this, if you're watching it live or later, and tell me what you think. First of all, does it matter if it's true or not? Because if he's still meeting your needs and whatever, then it doesn't really matter. But do we think he's married or not? So get in the chat, girl. I have my own feelings, but I do think there's a good point of like, there are things you don't tell people you're in certain relationships with, and there's a range, right? We think about gender as a spectrum. I think about relationships as a spectrum too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we have just our like super friends, like no sexual tension at all.
Yeah.
But then there's a range, right? Like up to partner. Like there's a lot in between.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a bad thing, right? You're just like, oh yeah, like I see them out and we flirt and whatever, and it never goes anywhere.
Well,
that's still, Yeah,
that was a question you asked me actually, you asked me something like, if it were true, would it matter? And I actually had never thought about it like that before, because I was like, it actually doesn't change the circumstances at all. It's just that there's a lot of things. It's now I know he's capable of like a deep...
That's a level of deception. I think
deep deception. That's exactly the word I was going to use. So it would just make me feel uncomfortable about disclosing things about myself. You know what I mean? That's the thing about honesty, is I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability in relationships. And so, like, let's back up and say one of the functions of honesty is trust building, because it's scary to trust people. And trust is more difficult for some than others. Like, I don't know. I was going to say I'm about middle of the road, but I have really, like, only the people that I know deeply and care about in my life to compare that to. So it's really not a useful comparison.
Yeah.
But that's why I think it's a good thing. On the other hand, girl, and I know we have some comments. We have some comments coming in the chat, so I got to get to those in a second.
Read the comments.
But yeah, I was just going to say we've also covered non-monogamy in this, and the arrangement that I've had with my partner for a long time is like, things can happen, but I don't want to know all of the details. I just want to know when they happen. So that's the other side of this, right? On the other end of the spectrum is like, I want to know certain things, but I don't want to know beyond a certain granularity of detail. So it depends on the situation. It depends on the people.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Always. What are the comments?
So Dom says, for sure. Dom says, for sure I would think the dude is married. And that was exactly the first thing that I thought. So you're not alone, Dom.
Team Dom.
By the way, Dom's having a Paloma, so cheers to you on this Tequila Tuesday.
We do love tequila. We love tequila. We're always here for a Tequila Tuesday.
Refreshing, very summery.
Dom, I've been really getting into Casamigos Blanco, and I used to do the Reposado, but now it's just too much of vanilla for me. And I've been really into the Blanco, so if you have any good tequila recommendations, you go ahead and you comment, because I am always looking for a nice tequila recommendation. And oh my God, wait, not to like derail.
Not to like derail.
But I'm growing limes, and they're growing. Like, I have little limes. So
that's adorable.
They're very sensual. I'll post a photo on the cover.
I'm growing citrus.
I'm going to post a photo of the lime on the Instagram for Covered Dish. It's very cute and tiny. But when they're robust and full and juicy, I want to cut one. I want to open it up. I want to squeeze it into like an amazing tequila.
Yes.
And just drink it on a rock. So I'm looking for like a great recommendation. I have 4 months. So if it's an expensive tequila, Dom, I can save up for 4 months.
There's nothing like a fresh lime, and there's nothing like a fresh lime that you grew. That's what I loved about the basil from last week's dish. It's so good.
Love it.
So satisfying.
First of all, he's married. Second of all, I grow limes. Are there any people on the dish who disagree? You talk to me. And you know what? Even if he is, whatever. Like, I feel like that's the thing. You got to find the lines that you need, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
We have some other... Oh, so Tim says, was the text conversation outside in the car still? I'm betting he's married, but for sure if the conversation was right away and you weren't invited back. Well, here's the thing. We've continued to talk for months after this. So this was
so weird.
This was not the end of the story. I said, you know what? I can't text about this. I need to talk to you tonight. So we had a video call after that. Because I was like...
Because it was still a pandemic.
Well, that too. This wasn't like... Yeah, this was last year.
Right.
And I was like, listen, we gotta lay this out, and I have some questions, and we've had this kind of, that sort of understanding in a relationship where you're like, I don't want to pry, but I was like, now I need to know some things just in order to if this is going to continue, right?
And he had a good story, and I think he had a realistic story, and I think it could go either way.
That's the thing. That's the thing is, will I ever know 100% what the truth of the situation is? Probably not.
And if he still meets your needs and you don't know, can he still meet your needs with not knowing? I think that's the other key.
I don't know. I will be very honest and open with you. I actually don't know. But after 2 years and enough, what's the word? We've been there for each other, right?
Right. Yeah.
And now I was like, hey, if this were a deception, I'm trying to be really empathetic and trying to understand the reasons why that might have taken place. Because my understanding of this person deep down is that they're not a malicious being.
Oh, of course. Of course. Can I? Oh,
and I could be wrong, but this is a very vulnerable moment, girls.
Okay,
it's a very personal story.
So I'm gonna
Don't be sorry at all.
I'm going to end with 2 things as we wrap up.
Okay.
First of all, intent doesn't negate impact.
Love that. Write it down. Write it down, class.
So when people are like, oh my God, I'm sorry to hurt you, I didn't mean it. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Your impact is what matters. Right. Now, if you say, hey, I'm sorry for the impact my words had on you, that's very different. But I actually, when I'm hurt, don't care about your intentions. Just don't. Second, comment in the chat if Eileen is a Christmas angel. And you would love if she delivered you Christmas cookies. I would.
That year I was a literal Christmas angel.
You were just...
With cookies on hand.
Just crushed, just pummeled cookies. Girl, I love you. I always love to see you. We love to dish.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for entertaining my charred vegetables that people are calling a meal. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching live, we love you individually.
Denise says thank you for sharing. Denise, thank you for watching. Girl, what would Covered Dish be if y'all weren't here to listen to us tell these crazy stories?
I mean, it would we probably still do it, but we would feel a little more lonely. We love it. Thank you for watching. We will be back next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 7. And please let us know if you have any recommendations on topics we want to cover or dishes you want us to cover. Message us on Facebook or on Instagram at Covered Dish. And I'm going to post a picture of my limes,
That's
girl.
Right.
Yo.
Next time we might even have limes. And remember...
Girl, it's going to take like 18 months.
Oh, do they grow slow? Slowly? I'm growing tomatoes right now, and they look like they're going to take forever, but also I forget to water them sometimes, and I hear they don't like that. I hear they don't like that. I'm trying to do better. Do better, be better.
Be better.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen and gentle thems, we'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Love y'all.
For the next Lay Dish. Bye.